How important are your senior year grades in high school? That is the question I want to sort of answer for you today by shedding light on the relative importance of 12th grade grades to the grades one earns in ninth grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade, as well as talk a little bit about the various types of grades one is earning in 12th grade because they are myriad. I am Craig Meister. You can go to my website, collegemeister.com, to learn more about me and learn about how you can work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process. I have been working with students and families for 18 years as they navigate the college admissions process. And while much has changed, much has remained the same. And one of the things that has remained the same is the importance or relative importance or lack thereof of different types of 12th grade grades. What am I talking about? Well, colleges, particularly selective colleges like Ivy League colleges, the Dukes, the Johns Hopkinses, the MITs and Stanfords and even USCs of the world. These are all colleges that are going to care a great deal about your final grades from 9th grade, your final grades from 10th grade, and your final grades from 11th grade in order to determine your grade trends and your course rigor over the first 3 full years in high school. Those are very important grades, and I often will say that the most important year of grades, the final grades, of course, are 11th grade, because that's the last full year of grades colleges see before an admissions decision has to be made. And in some cases, admissions decisions are made even before 1/12th grade is in the books, because some colleges accept on a rolling basis as early as August before senior year has even started in some school systems and schools around the world. So it's very true that 11th grade grades, final grades, are the most important final grades that one will be submitting with his or her college application. However, 12th grade grades are also extremely important, but some of them are extremely unimportant. So let me shed light on this once and for all so that any teacher who's trying to scare you about your performance in 12th grade, we can sort of clarify where he or she may be correct, where she or she may not be correct, in trying to motivate you. Obviously, you shouldn't be scared about anything. You should just do your best, but let's clarify things. So most high schools are going to be prompted by the colleges their students apply to send first semester grades to the college for any student, particularly who's applying regular decision, because usually semesters end anywhere between December and early February, and colleges that are making regular decisions have to see those first semester grades of senior year in order to determine, is the student still progressing as he or she has been through 9th, 10th, and 11th grade? Are the trends positive still? Are they still steady, or whatever they may be? Are they getting worse? God forbid the grades are getting worse with 12th grade year, because that's a big red flag for many colleges. So they definitely want to see first semester grades if you are applying regular decision. However, if you are applying rolling, priority, early action, or early decision, you've already missed the boat if you're waiting to send your first tranche of grades as your first semester grades. Because, and unfortunately, many college counselors don't even realize this in schools. Not enough colleges have clarified with the high school counseling community the importance of receiving first quarter grades if a school is on a quarter system, or first trimester grades if a school is on a trimester system, or even if a school is only on a semesterly system, at least first interim grade, sort of halfway through that first semester, for those students who are applying anywhere from rolling to EA to ED to priority, deadline sometime in the fall, or as maybe as late as the first week of December of one's 12th grade year. Those grades are extremely important, especially if they're strong. You want to send those grades, but far too few high school counselors send those grades. And I don't know why. I mean, it could be extra. Obviously, it's extra work to send 2 tranches of grades by the time the middle of the senior year is through, as opposed to just sending 1 tranche of grades at the end of the first semester. But especially for competitive early decision, early action schools, getting a first quarter report card as an addendum to the initial score report or grade report sent via the Common App or other applications And if it's all A's, it's so very positive for the colleges to see that. So first quarter grades should be sent, especially if they are strong, as soon as they are available. Many times they're available late October, early November. They should be sent as soon as possible because they can really, really buttress. If that's a word that's not used anymore. It used to be on the SAT, but that can really increase or pump up your chances, in more colloquial English, of getting in early decision, early action. So while the final grades of 11th grade are the most important final year-end grades that you're going to be submitting with your college application, the first quarter grades of senior year are arguably the most important grades of them all, in terms of the cherry on top, sealing the deal, putting you over the finish line, in terms of getting you into a very highly selective college or university in the United States. If your school does not go by quarters, first trimester will do. If your school does not have quarters or trimesters and just semesters, then try to have an interim report run on your grades halfway through the first semester and see if your counselor will send them as an official update, as something known as the optional report on the Common App, which college counselors know what that is, but many students don't. But that's basically an optional grade report that can be sent. That is extremely valuable to colleges, particularly if your grades are strong. So you want to really, really send what makes you look good, right? And if you have the best grades of your life in the most difficult courses of your life, the first quarter of senior year, you want those grades sent. They're highly important, arguably more important than your final grades from 11th grade. Now, with that said, what am I building up to here? First semester grades are similarly important for students who, from senior year, from students who have been deferred early action or early decision, or students who are applying by regular deadline. Those are similarly important. They're slightly less important, I think, than ED or EA applications for first quarter grades because more students are sending them, and so a lot of kids will send them. So it's slightly less differentiatable for you, but ultimately you need to send them. Those are very important grades to distill for colleges. How are you doing halfway through your senior year, and are you on the right trajectory to give them confidence you would be a strong fit for that institution that's going to be making a regular decision about your application within a matter of weeks from receiving, if not already sort of pondering your decision when they receive those grades sometime in January or at the latest early February, because most decisions are sealed, at least internally, by late February through late March, even if they don't come out until early April. So that is important. Don't get me wrong, those are important. So you do want to run through the finish line if you are applying regular decision or have been deferred to the regular round, having first applied EA or ED to other schools and now are deferred. You should absolutely run through the finish line, put in your best effort, go big or go home, make sure you finish first semester strong. Now, after that point, you can relax. Let's be frank. Even though teachers will try to scare you often that you have to keep your grades up because they could pull your offer of admission, unlike other university systems, or particularly the IB diploma program, if you're in that, which we'll talk about in a minute, really your third quarter grades don't matter that much, with the exception of a situation of if you end up being waitlisted regular and then are put on a wait list starting in May. They may want to see your third quarter grades. Those are important at that point. But for the vast majority of people, after the last day of first semester, you can relax. Now, how much can you relax? Like, you shouldn't just go to the beach and never come back. You have to still have to try, but you're never in an American college or university going to have your offer of admissions pulled, whether it be an ED or an EA or regular decision acceptance, for being a straight A student your entire high school career and then third quarter getting straight Bs. And frankly, I've never even heard of someone getting their offer pulled for third quarter getting half Bs and half Cs. Now, again, I don't recommend that. Only once you start being a D consistent student or an F, God forbid, consistent student your third quarter and later, basically the second semester of your senior year, are you really skating on thin ice at that point? And could you have your offer of acceptance pulled either from an ED, EA, or regular decision institution also rolling in priority? So that would be only, you don't want to go into the Ds or the Fs. And ideally, you don't want to go into the Cs. But frankly, even if you went to the straight B minuses, assuming you're holding a very rigorous course load, B minuses aren't bad. No one's going to pull an offer of admission for going straight B minuses for the second semester of senior year. So you can relent, you can relax quite a bit if you're traditionally a high A student. Now, with that said, it's extremely important to understand that there is a carve out. I want to make very clear. And it's not even a carve out for AP students. So if you're an AP class, don't even worry about it. If you're going to take that exam and not do great on the exam, that's not the end of the world. Let's say you thought you were going to get a 4 or 5, but you end up getting a 2 or 3. Colleges in America rarely, if ever, pull admissions offers because you self-reported that you were going to take an AP exam. You've always gotten 5s or 4s on AP exams, but now in your senior year, you got a 3 or 2. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that happening. With the IB or similar national curriculums, let's say, even though the IB is, of course, an international curriculum, but if you're in the full IB diploma program, and as a part of your initial application, your high school counselor sent not only your official transcript with the grades you're earning, but also your predictions for what your final IB diploma score will be. And that prediction was, let's say, 40 or 43. And then you get good grades or even slightly less than good grades, but you sit for those exams, and then those exam results are available the July after your senior year, and those exam results are not a 40 or 43, but now you got a 33 or a 35 or something. That is a situation, God forbid that happens to you, but that is a situation, unfortunately, where you can have your offer pulled even by American universities. Now, that's very regularly something that happens in the United Kingdom and to some extent Canada. I've had that happen with students I'm aware of in the University of British Columbia and other even Canadian universities, and definitely happens all the time in the UK because predictions are very clearly written into the acceptance letter, often as being, assuming you get this predicted score or whatever, or this outcome in the end of your senior year, the offer is conditional upon that for UK universities often. But for the American universities, rarely does it ever say, when you get into Brown or you get into Harvard, congratulations, Johnny, you've just been accepted to the Harvard class of 20 whatever, and this is conditional on you getting a 45 on your IB exams or total with the CAS points and the extended essay and all the other fun stuff. It doesn't say that in the fine print, but you can rest assured that if your school sent along with your official high school transcript that you would be earning a 43 when all is said and done in the IB diploma out of 45, and then your scores and everything is sent to Harvard and it's a 37, you can bet that Harvard has every right and might actually pull your offer. Brown has done it to a student I'm aware of. I know that's happened with Brown. So it's really only with IB predictions that you can really be in trouble if you underperform based off of your previous performance. But with grades earned on a quarterly or semesterly basis or year-long basis, there is the expectation there will be some deflation in one's grades second semester, and therefore senior slump need not be a dirty word. Don't feel like you can't relax a little bit and calm down a little bit and turn from a type A to a type B student a little bit during the second half of your senior year, particularly if you've been accepted ED or EA. You have every right to relax over winter break and go into the January term or the winter or spring term, as they call it, in the United States, calmer, cooler, and more collected. But don't nosedive. We want to have, obviously, a slight descent in grades so you can relax a little bit if you want. I mean, obviously, if you want to keep getting straight A's, by all means, do it. But you do not want to have a nosedive in terms of grades. The other thing I should make very clear, so grades are important, particularly the first half of senior year. But the second half of senior year, give it a rest. It's not that important. Now, again, don't get F's, don't get D's, and try not to get C's. But even if you get 1 or 2 C's and the rest are A's, or one C and all the rest B's, I don't see IBs even taking away acceptance offers because of that if you had previously been a straight A student. Now, one thing that can really screw you up is not grades changing your senior year, your 12th grade year, but actually your courses changing and you not notifying the colleges that you've been accepted to or that you're applying to. So let's say you applied in the fall and you said you were taking 5 AP classes, or the 5 most advanced classes at your school as your core 5 academic classes your 12th grade year. And then somewhere along the line in, let's say, December or January, you decide you're going to drop 1 or 2 of them and your school lets you drop them. Or you have a semesterly course schedule and you said you were planning to take these 5 classes second semester, but now you're taking only 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and you don't notify proactively the college that has already accepted you or that you've applied to regular and you're waiting on the decision for, that could be a much bigger disaster than you starting to get B's second semester. Because if you basically got in on false pretenses, that's going to be far more tragic for you and not proactively keeping them up to date about your course switches and why you are switching courses halfway through the year, than you getting slightly lower grades the second half of the year. So in the event, either because of your choice or someone else's choice, that you have to switch classes after you initially apply to the college or university that you apply to, make sure that you are a proactive party, and either in the application portal for that college or by emailing that college, you keep that college up to date with your current senior year course load and course schedule. And if there are changes, obviously you don't have to say that you were taking English second period, now you're taking it fifth, and you've swapped that out for Spanish and they just switch places. But what you do need to do is, if you drop Spanish altogether and you now just have a free period and you applied saying you were going to have a full year of Spanish, you do need to communicate that to colleges. Similarly, if you're taking multivariable calculus and you in the fall term, and you say that on your application and you say it's a full year class, but then when your final transcript gets delivered to that college in May after you've been accepted and deposited, it only shows that multivariable calculus was a one semester course on your transcript. In the second semester, you took personal finance or something to fill the math spot, which is a nebulous math class. Arguably, that's not even a math class. That's more of a social science class. But let's say at your school, it is counting as a math class. Then you're really in trouble, because then you basically sold them a bill of goods, the college. You said you were one thing and you were going to be one thing throughout the senior year, and you ended up not being that. And so they have every right to say you lied, or you deceived us, or you were not fully transparent with us. We have the right to rescind our offer of admission, or at least send you a very sternly worded email or letter saying, shape up or ship out real fast. Give us an explanation as to why this happened. So I would never do that. And as a college counselor in a high school, I would always inform my students that if you're planning to change a course before you even change the course during your senior year, let's say for second semester, you may want to ask the college that's already accepted you ED or A if they're okay with it. And email them and say, is that okay? Is that before you make any changes? Why do it to yourself? Why put yourself in risk when you've been accepted based off of one pretense and now you're changing to another pretense? So that's far more of I have far more stories of students getting railroaded, or really not getting railroaded, railroading themselves because of wanting an easier second half of senior year. Not because their grades go down, but because they literally just change their courses and don't inform, or don't think it's important to inform, the colleges they've already been accepted to, or the colleges they are waiting for regular decisions from in late March or early April. That can really put you in a bind come April and really May and later. You don't want to be left with nothing because you were playing musical chairs with your classes during your senior year. But otherwise, as it relates to grades and senior slump is a rite of passage. You have every right to go through it. You don't want to slump too much, but you can slump slightly. So I think a slight senior slump is in order for students who've been working very hard for the vast majority of their 12th grade year. You don't have to slump if you don't want, but you have every right to. And you should not change the rigor of your curriculum at all. Now, especially for the easier side of things, don't try to get easier. Now, in the event you get more horsepower as the senior year goes on and you want to increase the rigor of your curriculum second semester, again, proactively communicate that to colleges, especially colleges that deferred you or for regular decision, you're waiting on decisions, because they may want to know that your grades or your rigor is getting more difficult because you were anti-fragile. You're getting stronger as things get more stressful. And so that could be a net positive for you. But I would not switch downward or stay the same even at the same level of rigor and just to switch courses. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth the risk because you don't know exactly why you were accepted, so you don't want to change the package that you submitted to the college unnecessarily. Otherwise, remember, the first half of senior year, particularly the first quarter of senior year, the grades are quite important, and strongly encourage your high school counselor to send your first quarter grades, because it may not be automatic at your school for whatever reason to send first quarter grades, but you sure as heck better have them sent, especially if they're the strongest grades of your life or consistent with the grades you've had previously. You want the colleges to understand that those grades are still grades you are capable of earning into the first quarter, or if not first semester, of your senior year. College acceptances, relatively rare to get rescinded in the United States relative to other countries, particularly the UK. And again, mainly this is a function of the different testing regimes in different countries, and big national tests at the end, which I'm not getting into today. IBDP is the most well-known equivalent to that to American and students who are applying to for American students, but also for college students who are applying to American institutions. Many of them are in the IBDP program. And so that's why I did mention that one little caveat asterisk that you want to replay, just so it's very clear to you. But otherwise, don't stress about senior year one way or the other. Try your very best and understand that some of the least important grades of your life will be earned senior year, and some of the most important grades of your life may be earned senior year. It really will depend on when you are applying, rolling, ED, EA, and and regular, and also how selected the colleges are from your list as to the relative importance of your 12th grade grades. That's all I can do for today. But if you want more bespoke guidance, one-on-one guidance with yours truly, my name again is Craig Meister. You can go to my website, collegemeister.com. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and stay stress-free.